Hey, Paul Hopkins. Paul Cundiff here at Woody's. The guys have taken off the water pump, the starter, and the alternator off your engine, and we just want to go over a few things with you. First thing I wanted to show you, just to educate you on, your water pump impellers were pretty close to failure. When they start holding the brand new, these things are big spider looking impellers, and they've been bent over for quite a while. And so what happens is these fins will, if we run them too long, the fins will break off, and they get caught in your inlets and mainly in your outlets of the pump, not the inlets, but they'll get caught in the passageways. And depending on how small they are, if they don't get caught in the passageway, obviously they go on into the engine and get caught. So the good news is that, as near as we can tell, we don't know that that's never happened to you, but we know that this last set of impellers didn't blow apart. And because if we find them blown apart, we have to go hunting for them in the engine. We back flush all the hoses in the engine, run water the opposite direction, and try to get all those pieces out. If you ever blow one of those impellers apart, have your mechanic find all the pieces he can find. Sometimes there's so many small pieces, we just weigh a new impeller and weigh an old impeller to make sure that all of our parts will be real small. We found some other significant issues in the process of getting ready to detail this. One of the things is in world-class manufacturing you probably know about is clean to inspect. You can't do the inspection until you get it cleaned. And we did our cleaning and we found a crack in the exhaust manifold. Now we don't know if this crack is all the way through. I'm suspecting that we're going to have a leak here. This has been changed somewhere in the past. This is your exhaust manifold has water passageways, heat exchangers in it. Unlike on a car, in order to keep the manifold cool. And so this one's cracked. That's been changed. So it tells me that probably this part was changed when this cracking occurred. We're going to fire this engine up as a result of this. We're going to go ahead and fire it up right away. We're also going to do a compression test on it and make sure you get a healthy engine. We also see evidence of cracking back here, and we see some rust. So we're thinking that we're going to see leaks here when we fire this up. I don't know for sure. Also, the guys found significant corrosion on the oil pan. The oil pan is made of aluminum. You can see the aluminum right here. And so I can only surmise that there was water in the bottom of the boat for a while up to this level, and perhaps a battery cable laying in the water. For some reason, we've had a lot of metal removal, and I don't know if you can see, but we don't really have any idea how thick this metal is right here. I'm going to suggest that we change the oil pan. We could drill in a few of the thin areas that look thin, and we could probably since we have a welding facility, we could probably plug the holes back up. We could do some what we call destructive testing to determine that. And we may want to do that once we find out how much an oil pan actually is. I don't know that price yet. This isn't a deal killer, but just so you know, somebody busted a hole up here in your housing, apparently so they could get to the belts to put the belts on, which I can imagine it's a real bitch. Under here, let's see, we have, here's the hole I told you about. It's a drain hole. And we have one on the other side. Last year when we winterized, we found, that's when I found the caulking tubes plugging those holes up. So we're going to drill and tap those, no big deal. I've got a hose here that's nearly kinked. It looks like somebody replaced hose. It's a fairly new hose, but it's nearly kinked off here. And of course this is a cooling hose, so we don't want to do that. I got a hose that's looks like it's an original hose. The reason I know that is Chris-Craft painted all the hoses when they're put their boats together, and so that's a very old piece of hose, and we should be changing it. I've got another one. I've got one right here that's also kinked, nearly kinked in two. So we're going to change that one. So we just thought we'd go through. Here's another original hose. So we thought we'd go through and make sure your hoses are all new and in good condition. Anyway, exhaust manifolds, I hate to tell you how expensive they are. We'll try to find a used one. We won't look though until we know if this is a deal killer or not on this one. Okay, and then the other plug, the other block plug I was telling you about is oh, right there. Yeah, right there is the other block plug. So again, yeah, you can really see the corrosion on this side of the engine as well, the oil pan. Where'd it go? Yeah, the corrosion down here, and on the door, the inspection door on the side of the oil pan. Pretty severe corrosion there. My concern is that we get all done and you end up with that eating all the way through and losing your oil out of your engine, and then you know where you go from there. It's not good. All right, that's the latest update, and we're hammering away at getting your job completed. So we'll talk to you soon.